The WNBA just had its most exciting season yet. By far the most talented the league has ever been, the most viewership the league has ever had, and by far the most debated season in the history of the WNBA. But as the regular season comes to a close, there's only one storyline that really matters, and that's Caitlin Clark in the playoffs. If the WNBA wants to capitalize on this momentum, they need her to play in as many games as possible. Now, as a fan, the playoffs are the best part of every basketball season. When all the chips are on the table, every game matters, and every player finally plays like their season depends on every possession. That's what we love to see. But to be completely honest, the best part of the playoffs is really when all the storylines finally reach their climax, and we finally get to see who was right and who was wrong about everything. Now, in the past, I'm just gonna be honest for a second, I didn't care about the WNBA playoffs. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know who was playing who. I didn't know what teams were good. I didn't know what players were good. But this year is different. This year, I'm locked in. And in my opinion, that's because of one person, Caitlin Clark. Now, others have played well. That's no question. She doesn't carry the entire league by herself. A'ja Wilson is having one of the best seasons ever. She's averaging 27 a game. Angel Reese is breaking rebounding records left and right. Almost every night, Angel Reese broke a new record. Breanna Stewart, Arike, the list goes on. There's a ton of talent in the WNBA. This generation of women's basketball is incredible, and the viewership shows it. But let's be honest about why fans are really watching right now. That doesn't take anything away from all these other stars, but Caitlin Clark is a game changer, and the numbers overwhelmingly show that. Last week, ESPN announced that this WNBA regular season was the most watched season ever across all its networks, including ABC. Games on average 1.2 million viewers. That's over 400,000 more than last year. That is an unheard of increase in viewership. There were 22 games last season that had over 1 million viewers. If you add in the All-Star game and the WNBA draft, that's 24 events with over 1 million viewers. Caitlin Clark was a part of all but 3. In fact, Caitlin Clark and the Fever set WNBA viewership records on 6 networks this season. That is insane. And fans aren't just watching on TV either. They are showing up in massive numbers to these games. More than 500,000 fans showed up to watch Caitlin Clark this season. That is a WNBA record. Even last night, it was the last game of the regular season. The Fever's playoff spot is already locked up. They're playing one of the worst teams in the league. This game is meaningless. They're not at home. They're on the road. And that game set the single game attendance record for the WNBA at over 20,000 fans. That is the Caitlin Clark effect. Now, why do I bring all of that up? Because if millions of fans are tuning into the playoffs to watch one player, what happens when that one player loses? Do we just stop watching the playoffs altogether? If I'm honest, I think that's probably what's going to happen. And the WNBA cannot let this happen. This playoffs has the potential to turn Caitlin Clark fans into lifelong WNBA fans. There are going to be more eyes on this playoffs than ever before. The media will actually care for once, but only if Caitlin Clark is playing. An ESPN writer said it best. He said, "I would treat the Fever like the Dallas Cowboys. I would put them on the highest profile window, and I hope I get at least a minimum of 3 games against the Suns. I do a live pregame and postgame show on site. All the social media firepower will be focused on this game." And that's not to disregard any other series, but you want to take advantage of what might be a short stay from Indiana. That's someone from ESPN saying this. And to be honest, that's exactly what needs to happen. The biggest letdown of this postseason would be a sweep of the Fever, and the fans only get 2 games out of Caitlin Clark. Because remember, in the WNBA, first round is only 3-game series. The rest of this postseason will go unwatched, and the millions of fans would just switch back to watching football. This is why I say the WNBA needs script writers. Yes, script writers. Every sport has them, or at least the fans think they do. This is when all the storybook events happen. The things that were just too predictable. When you just kind of feel like something fishy is going on. Michael Jordan losing is not good for ratings. Of course, the year that Kobe tragically passes away, the Lakers win the championship. The first ever in-season tournament. Of course the Lakers won. The first ever play-in tournament. Of course LeBron is playing Steph. It's perfect for TV. You see where I'm going with this? You remember LeBron versus Kobe puppet commercials? That's what I'm talking about. The script. The WNBA needs to make sure Caitlin Clark plays for as long as possible. I'm not saying to cheat, but we've all seen sports moments where we feel like the league wanted certain matchups and somehow they made it happen. The WNBA needs that magic this year. What better storyline than Caitlin Clark taking on A'ja Wilson and the defending champs in the championship series? That would be the perfect David versus Goliath story. The rookie versus the established champion. Now now versus the future. Caitlin versus Asia in the finals would be important to sports fans everywhere, not just WNBA fans, but basketball fans in general. This is the kind of narrative that makes for iconic moments in sports history. And if Caitlin won this year, we would be able to start up a GOAT debate for the WNBA. And that's not an exaggeration. Her fan base will start a GOAT debate if she's able to win a championship. So let's make that happen, WNBA. Because if Caitlin loses early, millions of fans are leaving with her. And that's bad for business.